Ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we scream and fly, eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast, but today we are here for something different. It is GOAT Talk back. Yeah, we just got done watching the Eagles game. We didn't see the starters, but we got the 1-point dub, and we're going to talk about that and joint practice because GOAT Talk ain't been here since last week. How you feeling, LB?
Man, I can't complain, man. I actually kind of enjoyed the game. It was boring a little bit, but, I wanted to see the ones go out there, but I understand why the ones wasn't out there, man. How you feeling, though?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely understand that the best way to get to the season and feel real good about it is keep everybody healthy. You never know what can happen. One play could be your last play. And so I understand that. But as a pure entertainment, man, I want to see Jalen and AJ cook like they've been in practice.
Right.
But that's why we got to talk about practice too, because I think that the new NFL standard is to treat these joint practices a lot more heavier than preseason games, because if you want to see Jalen Hurts in the offense in the red zone, you can set it up that way. If you want to see Jalen Hurts inside his 20, you can set it up that way. You guys collaborate and figure out what you want to see from each respective team. And so with the joint practice, I ain't mad at it,
I'm not mad at it either. And I think joint practice, I think it holds a multitude of, good resources for coaches as well. Like coaches get firsthand experience and firsthand looks at who needs work. And then you can really put those guys in the real game situation based upon the work that they need. Kind of that probably could happen today. Who's to say that, Gardner hasn't been struggling in joint practice and they want to throw him out there so he can get the work that he needs to get him into a good rhythm. So, joint practice is useful. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Shout out to Brian Hill with the $10 banger.
Brian, what up?
He ain't say nothing, but we understand. We gonna let the play do all the talking. And I see this question right here, and it's a tough one. Who you picking if we had to talk about a bubble guy, Dion Cain or Devon Allen? And because we're talking about Devon Allen real quick, let's just take a look at the longest play of today's game, which was Reesenet, who's been buns for the majority, but he laid it out there perfectly. And look, Devon Allen had separation and a half. Man, you could park a minivan between it. Let's look at it real quick. So again, he just drops back, fires it up, and look at that. I mean, you could park a car between the distance of the guy who's running around and the guy who's trailing. Tough question. Let you go first. Devon Allen, Dion Cain.
This is tough, man. This is what I'll say about Devon Allen, though. You can't teach that. Dude is coming off of 2 ACL injuries. Dude is 27 years old, and he's probably one of the fastest people in the National Football League. Clearly, as seen on this footage, you can't teach that kind of speed. If you were able to harness that speed in a healthy way and have this dude, I feel like with that type of speed in Kansas City, it won't be no drop off of you missing the deep routes with Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's the same level of speed in my opinion. So I would have to go with Devon Allen, even though that's his only catch. That's just the big playability that he possesses, though. So I'll go with Devon Allen.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I was definitely riding the Dion Cain wagon throughout this live stream that I was doing because I was live for the play-by-plays. But he did drop two passes too. To end the game, he started showing some signs of why he's a journeyman wide receiver and blah, 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 because he had two go right between his hands. Now, the two catches he made in man-on-man coverage was great. But again, there's something about Devon Allen's speed. I don't know if he's going to be able to run every route in the book and be a legit wide receiver. But I think when you look at the back end of the wide receivers making this team, they got to be able to contribute somewhere else. So my thing is, is Dion Cain going to get minutes over Pascal, Quez, AJ, Devontae? No. The only
probably not even over Rager.
Exactly. The only way he's in the game is if we're injured there. But see, Devon Allen offers you the special teams side of things where, he could be a gunner. He can be a return man, whether it's kickoff, punt return. And so, look, it was one play, but it shows that speed kills. And he was an Olympic for speed. The one thing I do want to see is Quez versus Allen, straight up. Because Quez called himself not only the fastest on the team, he said, check me, I'm the fastest in the NFL. He said, if you don't agree with me, holla at your boy. You know what I mean? So I want to see that.
Listen. I'm a Quez guy, but the way Devin Allen just ran, just that one route right there, that's a different level of speed, bro. It's a different level of speed. I ain't gonna lie. Some dudes just different. I think Devin Allen. I think he's smoking him. I think he's smoking him outright. Not smoking him, but he beating him. You know what I mean? That's a different level of speed. I didn't think he was that fast on the football field. Now, I watched some of his old highlights. I was really, really impressive. But to see that after the ACL and all of that, like that is what people thought Henry Ruggs should look like every game. You know what I mean? But it was coming sporadically. So, this type of guy, you're right. He might not be able to run every route on the route tree, but just him being out there is a threat. And it should open up a lot of routes underneath for any offense that wants to, use his ability. Like he's like a decoy, somewhat how Deshaun Jackson was used. I'm not saying he's going to be Deshaun Jackson, but you got to take account for that speed.
Yeah, look, hands, tracking the ball, all that comes. And we're not saying he's, D-Jack or Ruggs or even Reek with the total skill set. We're just talking about being able to get loose, get down the field quickly. Right. And he just portrayed that in front of us. And then shout out to Reese Net for having the arm to get it there. But
very
Devin Allen, it's crazy. And that's what preseason is really. It could be one play that just opens you up or opens up your mind to this guy deserves a spot because of what he can do potentially for many different positions on this roster. And I think if you're going to be wide receiver 6, wide receiver 5, 6, 7, even if I don't think we're going to go 7, but 5 or 6, if you're on that position, you better be contributed somewhere else too, which is special teams. And I don't think Deion Cain can offer us that there. It just feels real good to have receivers. So many good. I said it on my live stream. Last year, our best receivers were like C pluses. Like you had not last year before Devontae came. You really just anybody could make the roster because in 19 and 20, we didn't have receivers. Now we have so many A plus B guys that we're not really crying over the Greg Wards or the Deion Cains. Like it doesn't really matter unless we get hit with the injury bug.
I agree, and unfortunately, some good wide receivers are going to end up being released because we think that listen, you're not going to put Greg Ward back on the practice squad. You're not going to demote him like that. So what you're going to have to do is release him because Greg Ward is a part of, you making the playoffs the last 4 to 5 years. He was the best wide receiver on the roster, you know what I mean, at one point. And he helped you get to the playoffs, even though, Carson didn't finish that game or whatever the case may be. A good guy is going to have to go into the practice squad. Now, Greg Ward, I don't think he's going to be down for that. I don't think Rager is going to be down for that. It's going to be easier to just keep Rager. You know what I mean? I'm naming guys that could potentially end up there based upon their play. Cain could in there. You know what I mean? Even Devin Allen can in there. And we all know they got good traits about them, but it's so top heavy in the wide receiver room. Like you just know who your 3 main guys are. And you talk about having A plus and B plus players, man, you might got 2 A guys. You know what I mean? And A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That's very well likely. Like, I haven't heard any other tandem, having the success this offseason as these 2 guys have had. Like, this is a tandem that can't be slept on, man. And the way Jalen Hurts is distributing the ball to all of these wide receivers, that makes even valuable for a top 3, top 4 guy. So we'll have to see how it shake out.
Yeah, and I love the fact that let's go back to the practices for a second. First day, Devontae Smith owned it. Second day, A.J. Brown owned it when you talk about wide receivers. And so that is what it's going to be like every single week for the opposing team. Okay, let's focus on Devontae. Oops, A.J. got 100 plus. Let's knock it off. Let's stop A.J. Oops, Devontae got 100 plus. So I think that this offense is just set up for success. And then when you add in the other guys like Pascal, who's definitely not nobody to sleep on, and Quez's ability down the field and just what he's able to do. This offense is what you call a pick your poison type offense, and I'm very excited about it. Let me ask you this question, though. Sean Doe with the $5 super chat. He said, I feel like this season is a bust if we don't win at least one playoff game. Your thought?
I don't think so. I disagree. I mean, the new NFL says it's not a bust. Guys like Derek Carr don't win playoff games. Who else is it? Kirk Cousins, he don't win playoff games. Matt Stafford, for crying out loud, just won his first playoff game in 17 years or whatever the case may be over there. I mean, no, it's not a bust. If you win a division, that's a plus. and you make it to the playoffs, that's also a plus because now you got a quarterback that's been to the playoffs 2 times in a row. You got a quarterback that won a division. You got a head coach that's been to the playoffs 2 times in a row. You know what I mean? Now you know what you need to build on. This is still a young front office. So no, it's not a bust of a season at all for me.
Yeah, I won't say bust. Again, there always got to be context, right? Like if we get to the playoffs and we get blown out, it's then yes, it might be like
right.
How much do we climb? But again, last year we made it. We did make the playoffs, but in context, we were a wild card team. We were the last wild card team. And if the rules didn't change, which it did, so listen, if a rule's put into effect, it is what it is. So we knew that before the season, but we did get the last wild card spot, which wouldn't have been a spot. We barely got into the playoffs. So now if you, like you said, if we win the division, we get the playoff spot, top, 4 seed in the NFC, and then we end up losing a playoff game. But say we lose by a last second field goal or just a ugly mistimed fumble or something like that. There's context. Win the division, didn't do that last year. Make it a top 4 seed, didn't do that last year. And then even if you lose, but you lose respectfully, and it's hard. Again, we're talking about this from a bird's eye view far away. When we are in the moment, we're in the moment. But I think that you can still make the playoffs, lose in the first round some strange way, and still say, dang, we are still building something, because the guys who are going to be around here are just getting familiar with this new system. So we're not the old team. Yes, there's old guys, but I love the roster in the sense that everybody who's been a staple of the Eagles, Kelsey got his replacement. Fletch got his replacement. So the guys who are leaving, we got their replacement who's already showing great signs. So I do agree with you, LB, that in context, you can still lose a playoff game and still say, man, the Eagles are getting better and better and better. So I would have to say that. Ray with the $2 super chat, he ain't say nothing, but I agree with you.
I hear you, Ray.
So let me ask you though, Gardner Minshew came out, he almost threw that pick six. It hit right in the chest of a Cleveland Browns a DB. But what do you think about him in totality of just running the offense against the Browns? Did you like it? How do you feel about him as a backup?
I wasn't mad at it. You know what I mean? I mean, he was efficient with his quick throws. I'm kind of anxious. This is one thing I've never seen from Gardner Minshew, and this is what everybody knocks Jalen Hurts on. This is confusing to me. I've never seen him air it out. I've never really seen him throw the ball down the field. Never seen this from Gardner Minshew. I'm starting to worry if he really can throw the ball down the field or not. Because who was that? Cain on the out route? It was Traeger. It was just a little short. You know what I mean? It didn't look like he had enough arm to get up under the ball. And, I never really seen him have a guy go on the out route. There's always some type of comeback to the sideline. So, like, if he can't throw the ball down the field, then he can move. He can move the ball though. I'm not mad. I'm not. His performance to me, was just a casualty of the actual real game plan, in my opinion. I think the game plan was to, give a lot of these running backs reps. I think this game was to evaluate the running backs. Boston Scott comes out there and is just getting fed the ball like it's his last day. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, we're not going to sub him. He's taking collisions. He's trying to crawl. He is looking like he's auditioning when you think about it.
And he just came back from a concussion, right?
Exactly, right? Boston Scott looked like he was auditioning for the lead back position. And then you go on to the next, series. Now it's time for Kenneth Gainwell, who also is looking like he's auditioning for the lead back series. So now I'm starting to wonder, I always come up with crazy scenarios. I'm starting to wonder though, like, Miles ain't playing. They saying all the starters ain't playing. These guys are running this hard. We taking pictures with Kareem Hunt. What's going on that we don't know about? You know what I mean? I never seen running backs running hard in the preseason. Well, I have in a very, very long time. And it was the guys that was on the bubble, like game 4. Kenneth Gainwell is a high draft pick of ours. Boston Scott is a guy we just signed. I mean, I feel like this game was more about evaluating running backs. Minshew's performance, it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. He led some drives that led to scores, but he almost threw 2 pick sixes. Actually, one was on the screen throw and one was on the goal line. You know what I mean? If those are first string guys, at least one of them is a pick. Yep. You know what I mean? In my opinion. So I'm not really mad at his performance. I feel like it could be a situation as well to where he might have just needed extra work at camp. You know what I mean? Like, let's get him some work. Because if Hurts was really, really struggling, in my opinion, he would have got a lot of reps. He would have played today if he was struggling. You know what I mean? He would have played today. That's just how I feel. So I ain't mad at Minshew's performance.
Yeah, and I think that what we saw in joint practice was enough from the starters. You know, we were low-key beating up on the Browns. And the Browns have some people out regardless, like Denzel Ward and some of their offensive linemen. So, you know, we were definitely more healthy, but we did enough in practice that we can just be okay with seeing what some of these other guys do. But you make a good point about the running back situation. Look, regardless of what me and you or the chat feels about Miles Sanders, let's look at the tea leaves. The tea leaves say this: Miles Sanders was the running back for the Philadelphia Eagles to start the season last year. We did not run the ball at any type of. We didn't run the ball adequately. We did not run the ball.
For the first 7 weeks, hell no. It was to historic proportions that we did not run the ball.
Whether that's because Nick Sirianni thought his offense would be okay in the passing game, didn't trust Miles, who knows, who cares? But we start running, unfortunately, when Miles Sanders is done. Then Miles Sanders comes back, and we've seen key situations in the red zone where we take him out because of a fumbling issue or because a couple times throughout the season where he goes out of bounds when he's just supposed to stay in. He stays in bounds when he's supposed to go out. Just, you know, bonehead plays. You hear him in the offseason talk about, I need more opportunities. Not many players in the National Football League go out there and say something like that, because now you got to go back to work, and now you got to hear a coach probably say, yo, why are you talking about us not giving you the ball? Relax, you know? And so he stepped out of his own way to say all of this. So, you know, through them tea leaves, then you put the Kareem Hunt thing in there, and you just see Kenny Gainwell's involvement in the offense. You definitely can raise some type of flags, like what is really going on. Right. It's his last season under contract. What's the real deal? And, you know,
who would you rather pay? I didn't mean to cut you off. Who would you rather pay? Would you rather pay Miles Sanders or Kareem Hunt right now today?
Well, I think Kareem will be cheaper, because I think Kareem right now is a backup, and he also knows that he got that second chance for the female scandal thing. You know what I mean? Right. When he kicked her or something like that. So all that being said, he knows he's on his second chance. He's a backup right now. So I think getting more touches / getting a decent payday, I think Miles Sanders is going into his first contract like, look, I want to get as much money as I can. So I think that you can get Kareem on a cheaper deal, and let's not act like Kareem ain't a bad. He was killing it with the Chiefs before the whole scandal. Now, look, no matter what we say about his touchdowns or not, Miles Sanders for 3 years in a row averaged 5 yards a carry. I'm always going to hold on to that. But there's so many other things that have happened with his health and, you know, bonehead plays, opportunities, blah, blah, blah. That it's like, you know, it's starting to low key get hard to defend this guy. I love him.
Well, not really for me. I mean, when you don't give him the ball the way you didn't give him the ball, I mean, he really got a strong leg to stand on in that case. Like, you take him out in the red zone, like Miles Sanders would have punched some of them in. You know what I mean? He's not a weak running back. Like, they just take him out in the red zone at times. Well, when you make yourself a liability in the passing game in the red zone, you know what I mean? That's where you could end up, not on the field. You know what I mean? It's important that you could catch right there and block right there. So that's probably why they took him out. But anyway, Miles Sanders, you know, has a leg to stand on. You know, when you take the ball away from him and you just neglect the running game, like really, like, give me the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of understand that part of it. So I kind of can defend him at the same time. But this is where it gets sticky for me. Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell, I feel like, are equally as good. You know what I mean? I really don't feel like it's that wide of a gap between Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell or Boston Scott. It's really not. All of these guys were around like 5 yards a carry. You know what I mean? Miles Sanders had more carries. Kenneth Gainwell, Kenneth Gainwell attracts first downs. Every time he touched the ball. Look at the tape. You gave me that crazy stat. And then even tonight just shows it. Every time Kenneth Gainwell was getting 3rd and 14 on the ground, first downs, right up the gut. You know what I mean? Like in passing situations, just catching the defense sleeping. So Kenneth Gainwell is different. And Boston Scott has such a low center of gravity. He can catch. He can make people miss. Boston Scott falls forward. He runs harder than Miles Sanders in certain situations. So that's the part that's kind of wild for me. Like, it's not that big of a gap. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, and we've seen via San Francisco 49ers, when you have a good offensive line and you have a good running scheme, you can put anybody back there and things happen. And we're starting to see that, right? Kenny G, Jordan Howard on his last leg, Boston Scott, all being able to be efficient at the running back position. Again, what keeps me giving any excuse to Miles Sanders is that I believe there's really good talent there. And that 5 yards of carry, like you said, a lot of guys with this offensive line are close to it, but not many people do it for 3 years in a row.
That's facts.
I understand that. But to me, the health part, like, you got to be able to be available. And I think there's just too many little things in Miles Sanders' games that's starting to say, like, I got to start seeing it myself. Like, I was a guy that anybody said Miles Sanders' time's up in Philly, I used to say, why? And now I'm starting to say, I just don't know anymore. And like you said before, and even 500 when we were all together, like, he's in a lose-lose situation. If he's so good, well, now he got to get paid a lot. We're not doing that. And if he's bad, well, then he's bad. He's off the squad because of what we got. Yeah. So it's definitely going to be rough. Selena G with the $2 super chat. She said Boston Scott with that chip on his shoulder from his Madden rating. What is his Madden rating? I heard a lot of people on the Eagles were not liking it. Hassan Reddick was like, bro, how I go from an 87, I get double-digit sacks, blah, 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 and then I'm down now I'm at 83 or some junk like that. You know what I mean?
It's horrific. Jalen Hurts, man. I want my money back. Like, he can't he can't even throw a 5-yard pass on Madden, bro.
I haven't played it yet, though. I haven't played it with
crazy,
all the kids,
bro.
And stuff.
They made him the worst passing quarterback on the game.
Hey, Slay's the only one I think that got respected when it comes to his stats.
Slay and Lane.
Slay and Lane?
And Kelsey too, I think.
And they finally made Kelsey look like Kelsey, right? Because they always used to give
right.
Hey, shout out to ABM Swag with the $5 banger. He said Miles has a hammy injury, fellas. Just keep that faith in him. Special year in store. Keep grinding, fellas. I look forward to GOAT talks all day. Listen, and I think both me and LB said that. We know there's something about Miles that's why I keep going to that. But it got to start showing. I got to look at him and say, well, let's not talk about this. Let's just talk about his whole game. And he got to do that. And it all starts with being healthy. And it sucks that he played one possession with the Jets against the Gents. And next thing you know, his hamstring again. Like, and that's been his biggest problem.
Yeah.
But look, let's talk about Cam Jurgens real quick, because I'm actually just seeing the highlights again on NBC Philadelphia. Yo, Cam Jurgens is really showing why he was picked by both Kelsey and Stoutland. This man is getting to the second level, bro, crazily for 303 pounds.
Cam Jurgens might be a top player in the draft, yo. like he's that good, yo. You like when they do this all over again, Cam Jurgens should have been like one of the top offensive linemen taken off of the board. I mean, the speed and the collision is just violent at all times, bro. It's controlled. It ain't out of. It's just like he always. So when you see him running out to be a lead blocker, he's running at a different gear than the rest of the offensive line. Like, he's the first guy. Like, he's just zooming, and I'm like, he might be fast. Well, he's faster than Kelsey right now. I'm sure of it. Kelsey's a little older, but I think he might be faster than Kelsey has ever been. Like, I don't think Kelsey. I've seen Kelsey that fast. I don't think I've seen Kelsey that fast, man. Kelsey is way stronger, moving forward. But, like, Cam Jurgens is pretty quick, man, for his size, man. You know what I mean? And, like, he's going to end up being one of the best players out of that draft, man.
Yeah, man. I think every draft is the draft. And then, a year or two later, they go back and say, well, this guy should never have been drafted in the third. He should have been a first. Same thing. Mm-hmm. And you know what's crazy? Now, this is back-to-back second-round picks that we spend on the O-line. It's never the prettiest pick. Landon Dickerson last year, or in 2021, and now Cam Jurgens in 2022. It's crazy how we're hitting on them second-round offensive linemen, but I got to co-sign. Look, I don't know if he's faster than Kelsey, though, because I remember last year there was a play where Kelsey was running steam for steam with Miles Sanders.
Okay, remember? Yeah, you're right.
But yo, the funny thing is, like, when they said he was Kelsey Jr., I was like, I don't know about that. And then I just watched him play, and I'm like, bro,
it's like identical, bro. It's crazy. It's like identical, bro. Like, it's identical. And he's listening to Kelsey. And Kelsey, he's going to end up being a Pro Bowler, man, multiple years in a row if he keep playing like that, man. You know, I don't think the offense misses anything if he starts week 1. I think he's that good of a player. You know what I mean? You know, he might be the most. He's the furthest along out of all of our rookies.
Yeah,
he's the furthest along, and Jordan Davis is classified as a generational talent. He's further along than the generational talent. Nakobe Dean is. They talk about his IQ is Albert Einstein. You know what I mean? He's further along than everybody, I feel like, and everybody's good. Like those 3 picks are just outstanding.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And, you know, it's crazy. Again, the offensive line, defense line is, you know, always a pretty pick because we love sacks. But man, the way the Eagles are keeping up with their trenches, you know, and we're only, you know, replacing Kelsey. You know, eventually we're gonna have to replace Lane, but I think Lane is in great shape to play for, you know, a couple more years, especially when we've seen guys like, you know, Jason Peters play long into his career, like 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. You can get solid 30, even 5. You can get solid years from offensive linemen. Cam Jurgens is just another great pick. Landon Dickerson, that whole left side is young. Now you're gonna start. We're eventually gonna have, you know, center, left guard, and left tackle all under the age of like 20, 25. Like it's just gonna be wild.
I'm telling you, they're gonna go right guard in this draft for sure. They're gonna go right guard and safety in this draft. You know what I mean? Like you have to. Like you know, the roster is so good. You just got to fill in these little couple pieces now. They're gonna go right guard and safety in this draft, and I feel like Lane is going to end up being the OG at one point. You know what I mean? And these young kids are going to be so good, and Lane's going to be the leader of this room that he's going to stay like another 4 years. So, you know what I mean? I got real high hopes and real high expectations, man. Are you worried about the tight end 2 position? I feel like I ask you this every week. Like it's getting closer when you make no move yet. Are you worried yet? Because I'm kind of worried, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of worried. Like Noah Toga in practice. Noah Toga has been making plays, but after Dallas Goedert, man, I feel what are we doing? Now listen, that dude in Cleveland, you know what I mean? Don't sleep on that David Njoku dude. That other tight end, don't sleep on that, man. I think something could happen there too. Like, you know, Howie rarely leaves a joint practice without stealing something. You know what I mean? He rarely leaves a joint practice without stealing something, man. They probably been up all night playing cards about deals. Howie been thinking about it, man. So, you know, what you tight end too, man. I mean, it ain't nobody you got your eye on or nothing.
I mean, at least Grant Calcaterra is back, right? Supposedly,
that's true.
And he did have that one-hand catch in day 2 practice against the Browns. I guess he slipped on some concrete though. He's just like trying to get hurt again. You know, to me, I think you're right. If we lose Goddard, then it's a legit problem. But I think that, you know, the old Eagles 2 years ago, we would need a tight end 2 for sure because of how much 12 personnel we play. But I think that we want to get these speed guys. We want to stretch the field. And so I think that 11 personnel is going to be played at an all-time high. I think if you go back and look at the Eagles in the last 5 years, this year is going to be the highest rate of 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end. I think we're going to try to win from that because we got guys like AJ Brown who's a monster blocker, Zach Pascal, who can block as well, really good at the wide receiver position. And you keep the, you know, element of we trying to pass the ball and run at the same time. But yeah, injury happens. I'm worried, but I think Grant Calcaterra, like Richard Rodgers is never going to be like the sexy tight end where he's like, wow, but you see him with the one-hand grab, right?
No, Richard's solid though. He's solid though. You know, he's a good blocker, you know, so I feel like we got good vets, but I feel like, you know, finding somebody that could run Goddard's routes and like replace Goddard, you know, if something was to happen, I feel like that's the challenge. But Grant Calcaterra, man, he's an athletic. You know what I mean? We just got to see what he's made of, you know, on the field. So we might be good. It could be a little overreacting right there. Jaquiski Tartt, though, man, he's been showing that he's going to hit this year. He's been hitting everything, you know what I mean? So I seen Jaquiski Tartt today, you know, in the preseason game around the third quarter, which surprised me that he was in that long. You know, he was out there hitting and making some collisions and making some plays. So, you know, I feel like his spot is not, you know, solidified, even though he was one of those acquisitions. You know, I feel like he still has to earn his bones too. So it's nice to see veterans and guys who've played in big games like Jaquiski Tartt going out there and putting their best foot forward.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing though. Why are we playing Jaquiski Tartt when we got the bum? Like, listen, they're not nobody's buns, But like when you got the people who are fringe bubbles to make the roster, and I look out there and it's Jaquaski Tar out there, like, yo, does he got to prove something to us? Like, is he a person that can actually come away and get cut? Like, I thought that, maybe not week 1, but by week 3, 4, like he could be I thought he was going to eventually try to creep into the starting role. And we playing Andre Chachere, we playing Kevon Wallace, we playing these guys before him. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
That?
That's what I'm like, is he not catching on something? Because it's a lot of people getting a lot more burn than him. You know what I mean? I thought we were done. I thought we were solidified when we got him. I'm like, oh, he gonna start, and they're gonna sprinkle in Epps and Anthony Harris. We should be solid veteran group back there. But it is looking like he could be auditioning as well. QB2, back to Minshew real quick. I was really thinking about this, man. Like, I haven't really seen an impressive camp from Gardner Minshew, and I don't know, man. I think I overrated him.
Strong. Why they not playing Strong?
I don't know. Strong only threw one time today, right?
Well, yeah, the game.
And it was a pass interference.
Game 1 against the Jets, they didn't play him. I was on my live stream, right, and I was getting so mad. I was just pretending, but I'm like, hey, yo, Nick Sirianni, what's going on with you? Why you ain't playing? And I was joking, and then, but they really put this man in with like 5 minutes left when they knew they were only going to run the ball. Why are they being so, like, this is where you're supposed to put your young boys out there and let them make mistakes. Like, why are they, what are they doing with this man?
I don't know, man. It seems like they favor sign it. But he, am I saying it? Sinet? Am I saying it right?
He might get cut. Doesn't matter.
Right. It seems like they favor him though, because he's been practicing well, but he just ain't been performing in preseason games well. And I feel like that Carson Strong just needed a chance. I feel like he's a gamer and he's not a practicer. You know what I mean? I feel like, he tries in practice to get these drills down pat. Like Mac Jones, I don't think Mac Jones is a good practicer. Mac Jones don't even look athletic. I don't think Mac Jones is blowing anybody away with his cone shuffle. No, he's probably just a gamer. Like you just believe in him because he's Mac Jones. I feel like you got to just put him on the field sometimes, and I think he'll show you, why he was one of those guys in college.
Yeah, and to me, like, this would have been a perfect game because you didn't play Jalen Hurts. I would have let Minshew play the first half like they did. I would have put in Reeves and Net in the third quarter, and then I would have gave the whole fourth quarter to Carson Strong. But they just didn't do that, and it's weird to me. He's the highest paid.
Right.
He's the highest paid UDFA for the Eagles in franchise history. He was talked about to be would have been drafted if it wasn't for the knee problems. If he's healthy right now, which he looks like it, let him get a fourth quarter.
No, yeah, I agree, man. I have no idea why they're going about it that way because I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen next preseason game though, because we're going to joint practice some more. So I don't expect Jalen Hurts and those guys to play in the next preseason game either, unfortunately. And I don't even expect Minshew to play. I think it's only going to be Sign is going to get a half, and I think Strong is going to get a half. I think they're going to do it next week. The Eagles have always been weird upon how they, like the last couple of years, how they practice, how they distribute time in preseason, who's going to play, who's not going to play, the vanilla playbook. They always do this all off season. So who knows? It could be somebody we never heard of playing, next week.
Yeah, it's definitely, they definitely are different from the rest of the NFL when it comes to all that. To speak about the game a little bit more, how did you feel about our run defense? And I know, again, we're talking about second and third string guys. It's not really the Fletches, the Hargraves, the BGs. But my thing is this, and somebody said it in the live stream to me, that they believe on offense, we are deeper on offense than we are on defense. And you're looking at like some of these receivers, some of the offensive line played pretty strong, with it being Andre Dillard, Jack Driscoll, Cam Jurgens, and Jack Anderson. They played up to par. So
who were the wide receivers?
It was Zach Pascal, Quez Watkins, but then we got guys like Covey, Allen, and Dion Cain. But when you look on the defensive side, when it comes to DBs, defensive linemen, safeties, I think we're less deep on defense. But back to my main question, did the run defense bother you at all?
It kind of did. I'm going to tell you why it bothered me. It bothered me because I see the same guys who should have shown a little more development at this time. I feel like certain guys should be better than this. Like, I feel like Davion Teller, he's out there getting pancaked, missing tackles. I feel like Davion Teller is better than what he showed today. I feel like Kayvon Wallace, he made a couple good plays, but I feel like he's better than what he showed today as well. Because Kayvon Wallace ain't a small safety. Like I expect him to be closer to the box.
He was looking kind of
No,
jacked
for
today.
real, yeah. He look like he's getting bigger. Like Sean Bradley and them guys. I expect them guys to be like trying to stand out. Like so far, the only guys that has been. I don't even know if Nakobe Dean played. Did he play?
Yeah, he played.
Yeah, like Nakobe Dean has been standing out. You know what I mean? Well, probably not today. Jordan Davis, you know, those guys have like kind of stood out in preseason already before. Like now it's time for some of them other guys. Like I'm not expecting a rookie to stand out every week. I'm expecting him to start finding his way. Like when is Davion Taylor going to stand out in preseason? You know what I mean? In a game or something. Like when is Kayvon Wallace going to get a pick or something? You know what I mean? It's like start standing out, you know, and I feel like it ain't enough standouts in that second unit on the defensive side of the ball. So I feel like, but this is the thing though. When people talk about depth, I feel like, you know, people think about, you know, like your whole first string defense going to miss the bus and he ain't going to show up, but the second string is. No, that's not how depth works. Like if we have a safety that goes down, I'm cool with Kayvon Wallace coming up because he's only one piece. Everybody else there and Kayvon Wallace is getting sprinkled in there. Like, you know what I mean? If you got a linebacker that got to miss some time, I'm cool with Nakobe Dean coming up and playing with Kyzir White and Hassan Reddick. If TJ Edwards got to miss some time, that's still a strong linebacker core in my opinion. And, you know, to piggyback off what you're saying about our second string offense looking good, if Carson Wentz would have had the wide receivers we had in 2019, we probably would have went to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? For the second string. For our second string, Pascal and them dudes, Watkins and Covey, that's a formidable group, man, for real. So I feel like we are deeper on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and you make the best point ever. And I've said this all the time, too, when every single offseason and preseason game remember last year how bad we were looking when we got beat like 40-0 to the Patriots and stuff, and we said, oh, our depth. Here's the thing. If you have, like you said, the whole defense being second string guys, then yes, it's a second string total defense. But if you got Slay, Maddox, and Bradbury, and then you have Andre Chachere as the backup safety, they're gonna make Chachere look better. If you have just say we got really hurt, right? Like Davion Taylor looked a little lost today. But if you got Reddick, Kyzir White, and Davion Taylor, well then White and Reddick are gonna make him look better too. See, when it's Taylor, Bradley, and Patrick Johnson, when they all, that's why it looks that crazy. But when you have like the guys that are legit next to the one or two pieces that get sprinkled in, if there's an injury, it's different.
Yeah, I feel like the only way to like hurt a team as deep as us is if you have a slew of injuries at one position. Like say we have all three linebackers out for week 6. Then you coming in there with a rookie line. We coming there with a linebacker core of guys that ain't even played together before probably. You know what I mean? Something you got to duct tape together. Like if you got a lot of lines on the offensive line, like that's when offenses start to feel it. When you got a lot of injuries, on the offensive line. So I feel like as long as we can minimize it and probably have a guy here or a guy there, we'll be able to patch that up effectively because we built enough depth to do that at least. You know what I mean? And I feel like Howie Roseman should get some credit for that as well because we got depth to patch up holes. We didn't have that in the past. You know, with the way that we're practicing and stuff like that and minimizing injuries and not putting dudes in harm's way, I think that'll go a long way for us in the beginning of the season and in terms of winning some of these easy games on our schedule. Like, I feel like week 3, you should beat the Commanders. You know what I mean? You should beat the Lions.
Especially because we're going to be there.
Right. You should beat the Lions. You know what I mean? Facts. We are going to be there. You should beat you should beat a lot of people. You know what I mean? Cousins? I'm not really scared. You should beat him. He don't play good on prime time. Like who's to really be scared of? You know what I mean? So like, and this is all at the beginning of the season. That's my point. So we should be coming into this thing tip-top shape and really knowing what we got on both sides of the ball. This defense gonna be nasty, Mike. I can feel it, man.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get into that real quick. But shout out to King Solomon Philly 215 with the $2 super chat. O-line is better coached than the D-line. Well, we do got the GOAT, Jeff Stoutland, as the coach. But he finished the statement with JG Trash. Let me just ask you about this, right? Again, preseason is what you call supposedly vanilla offense and defense. However, the players today were not Slay, Bradbury, White, Edwards, Fletch, but the style of the defense. You digging it, or are you scared to death again about JG
I think
calling the plays on the defense.
so. This is my opinion on JG right now. Like, no disrespect to JG at all. No disrespect at all. But I think JG is coaching people on that first string defense that are smarter than him. They know the defense is buns, and I feel like that they're making minor tweaks to, like, all right, listen, we just gonna rally to the ball. You know what I mean? Like, cause they hitting, bro. They where they supposed to be. They jumping routes. I feel like that they're just using. I feel like they're taking the coaching that JG is doing, and they're also using common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, the play might say go to the flats, but if it ain't no route going that way, then I could veer off and look at the field and try to make something else happen. You know what I mean? When a rookie will just go to the flats knowing nothing's there because that's his area of responsibility. I feel like the superstars know when to play double dutch, know when to, improvise or go by the book. I feel like with the first string defense that, we got a bunch of guys that can do that. Now, the second string defense and what we're seeing today are still some guys that's trying to learn. So they're probably just doing things by the book. Like, see, what they're doing is like making sure that they're just not out of position. That's the worst thing you could do is be a young defender is be out of position. So as long as I'm in the middle, I'm fine. But they think about being in position so much that they forget how to tackle. They forget how to use brain power. They forget how to chase. They don't even attempt stripping at the ball. They just out there running into shit. So you know what I mean? I feel like our veteran guys are more aware of what's happening, and they know that JG might say this, but they know how to react, in times of pressure. So I think our defense is gonna make JG look better than what he is.
Yeah, man. I think, and I said this during the live stream today a little bit, that we're never going to be a top 10 blitzing team. It's just not who Jonathan Gannon is. But I did see today some creativity. Remember, they blitz Andre Chachere, which is the safety. Remember when he pulled that guy's shirt and it ripped a little bit? That was a safety blitz.
Right.
I saw some safety blitz. I saw some stunts. I also believe that this defense in 2022 is way different in the sense that we got guys who can win one-on-one matchups. So even if you only send 4 guys, our 4 guys this year, including Davis, including BG, including Hassan Reddick, and I'm going to even stress Fletcher Cox and Hargrave. And you're like, why? They were here last year. Because they're going to be more rested. If Jordan Davis is playing 30 to 40% of the snaps, that's giving Fletch or Hargrave once in a while a break. So they're going to be not as nearly tired as they were last year. So you should get a better Fletch, a better Hargrave. BG wasn't here last year, and Reddick is here. And if you reduce Burnett's snaps, he's going to be better too. So I think the rotation is going to be legit, and we're going to be able to win the one-on-one battles. But I've seen a little bit of creativity at times from JG, and this is a preseason game. He doesn't have to show it. So as I was once worried, as you said, the talent is about to make things a lot easier, and we're going to be able to play like our vanilla defense is still going to be better because it's vanilla with better talent. Simple and plain.
Exactly. Damn, what was I about to say? Shit, I forgot that fast. Shout out my guy Silas, though. That's my guy Silas right there. That sent that super chat.
And shout out to Skeletor70 with the $21.20. You know what I like about Skeletor70? He legitly always does the score. So 21 for the Eagles and 20 for the Browns. That's why he put that 20 cent in there. My man
dude, I was thinking, I'm like 21-20. That's like an odd number.
Yeah. Like, literally, like, yo, bro, he be dropping $76 for the Sixers chat. 76 for Sixers. Anyways, shout out to my guy Skeletor70. He said, thanks again for the great stream on the game, Mike. I also just got my, you spelled his name wrong, but Hurt season hat from LB.
Hey, shout out to you, Skeletor.
It looks great, even on my goofy head. Thank you both for the great stream. Go talk, let's go. Hey,
facts. I remember what I was about to say.
Go ahead.
Sweat been having a good camp, bro. We're not talking about him, bro. No, nobody's talking about Josh Sweat. And it's like I feel appalled. I feel like Sweat might could get 10 sacks out of this quietly. I feel like quietly. You know what I mean? I feel like that quietly can happen. I've heard that he's been having a really, really good camp. But it's not being talked about because, look at all this talent we got. You know what I mean? We've turned from overnight to having nothing, basically, and just, rooting our guys on to having legitimate talent, man. We might can finish this thing with the most Pro Bowlers in the league on one team. I feel like we're that talented.
Yeah, and you're looking at Josh Sweat last year was his first time as the full-time starter.
Right.
So again, once upon a time, 4th round draft pick. He had knee issues. The knee issues went away. He was a pretty darn good rotational piece. Last year, he proved enough, and he grew as a pass rusher to be the first full-time starter, and he got 7 or 7.5 sacks. This is his first time. He is just getting into his prime.
But you know where it started at, Mike? You know where Josh Sweat started getting noticed? It was in preseason. I remember it vividly. I'm like, who the hell is number 94? And it was Josh Sweat, right? I'm like 94 out there cooking. He was getting sacks, all type of crazy stuff. And that's what I mean about standing out. Like, you know what I mean? We need Kayvon Wallace and Davion Teller and guys like that. Like, I believe those guys are extremely talented, bro. But I feel like some of them might be scared to stand out. You just got to go for it, man.
Yeah, I hear that. Alex White said, "Hey, LB, how do I get that bucket hat?" He about to get.
Oh, you just got to go on the web. You just got to go on the website.
I thought you were sold out of the buckets.
I think I am, but it might be something else you like. Just go on there. You know what I mean? I don't know. I ain't been returning my emails, man. I think my folks might have put some more up there, not though.
Hey,
but
real
this,
quick.
I don't know, man. This I had this one like 2 years.
He all like, yo, let me buy yours.
No, you can't get this one. This the one right here. It's my lucky one.
Yeah. Listen, we got 675 people watching. Again, we are live on 2 channels. Facts. We are live on LB's channel, LB Productions, and we live on Philly Mike's channel, yours truly. So listen, make sure wherever you're watching, you hit that like button, because the like button really do be doing big things for all the content creators. It pushes it out. It makes the Brown fans will come in here hating a little bit, but it also brings new Philly fans. So hit that like. It's free, easy, don't cost a thing. So you're very excited for this defense, but let's talk a little bit about practice day number 2, and we're going to stay on Sweat. Both Sweat and Reddick supposedly got 2 sacks each apiece.
And that's coming from both sides.
Lovely.
Listen, but see, I didn't hear that though. I didn't hear that. You see how sparingly we talk about Sweat. Sweat really could be a problem for us, bro. And you're right about Derek Barnett, bro, because I noticed it's going to happen just how you're saying it. The less you have him on the field, you get the most production out of him. You get the less bonehead plays. You know what I mean? I feel like Burnett got talent. You know what I mean? He just makes some of them bad plays. So Sweat with 2 sacks, man. I mean, I'm telling you, man, a big year, man. Sweat is going to have one of them years, bro.
I need to get a hot take from you real quick. I need to get something on film. Last year, we were 31st in sacks. Where are we going to be at the end of the season this year? Hey, people in the chat, give me your best guess. Last year, we were 31st. Where are we going to be when it comes to end of the season? Where are we going to be?
We're going to be 9th.
Ooh, top 10. Just snuck into the top 10.
We're going to be 9th.
All right, I like that. Hey,
we're going to be 9th.
I like that a lot. I was actually going to say top 10, and I was going to say 10 flat. But I like 9 sounds better because you inside the top 10.
Right. We in there. We're not on the edge. We comfortable.
We comfortable. Oh, listen to real quick. We got 10th, 15th, 6th, 1st, 4th. Okay. Listen. So no, even 15th. Look, I don't want to be 15th, but man, after being 31st,
that's a jump. That's a huge jump.
It's a huge jump. And again, it all depends on where the league goes and how many sacks are done. Like, Pittsburgh's still always going to get a bunch of sacks. There's teams with legit pass rushers, but I think that we have the talent now to like literally compete with anybody when it comes to it, because the rotation is there. And I do believe Jordan Davis is going to be more of a pass rush threat than people think. I'm not out here saying Jordan Davis is going to get double-digit sacks, not like that. But people really just think that he's a run stopper and a big guy. I think he's going to be able to come through the season with like a 4 or 5 piece. And 4 or 5 sacks when he's playing 35-40% of the snaps, that's terrific to me.
Right. I think so. I think he's going to have about 4 or 5 sacks, probably 3 to 5, something like that. That's not bad though. But I think, during the course of the season, he's going to have some eye-popping plays. Like I think he's going to chase. No, yeah, he's going to chase a couple people down from the back. He's going to be a distraction for sure. So I'm cool. 4 or 5 sacks, I'll be ecstatic with that, because I'm thinking that a lot of our sacks are going to come from the edge for the simple fact that we are playing around with that safety blitz a little more. And I think we're going to force a lot of pressure into the belly of a lot of quarterbacks. And they're going to try to escape to that edge, right in the sweat, right in the BG, whoever. I think we're going to get a lot of people sleeping off the edge.
Yeah, real quick, Jersey Boy with the $2 super chat. He said, facts on Sweat, multiple Pro Bowler on defense. And again, you know the best thing about Sweat? Do you know why Dallas Goedert, Josh Sweat, Jordan Mailata, Avonte Maddox, do you know why they just got paid? Well, here's the reason why. Because they were drafted in 2018, or maybe they're not. I think they're all from the 2018 draft. Maybe not. I don't know if Sweat was. With that being said, they all just got paid because they proved they're good at what they do, and they are just, I repeat, just getting to their prime. So we haven't seen the best of Avonte Maddox. We have not seen the best of Dallas Goedert. We definitely haven't seen the best of Mailata and Sweat. And so what they were last year was damn good players, and they still are about to show the peak of their game in the next 2 to 3 seasons. With all that being said,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, everybody has. A lot of people have it 7, 6, 12, 5 to 10, 13, 14, 10, 9, 8. So a lot of people are thinking the same way around us. That, some people said first, and I ain't mad at the most optimistic, but they got us, really improving. And it just goes to show that our fan base knows football. Like, I'll be the first to say first too. And everybody does that once in a while, but that's realistic takes right there from the chat. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really you can't be wrong with that though, because you got to improve. It's no way if you finish 31st again with this level of talent, like, you tripping. You know what I mean? You got to improve. But that's a real kudos to Howie Roseman though, man, because I think Howie Roseman got a knack for actually signing guys before they blow up. Being as though we haven't seen, you know what I mean? Being as though we haven't seen the best out of a lot of these guys, like Goddard can have 1,000 yards this season. And then if we would have waited, he would have been commanding big money. You know what I mean? Maddox could have 8 picks this year, but they would be already under contract. You know what I mean? So we would be good.
Yeah. He knows how to get to market early. Howie Roseman is a genius when it comes to that. And again, I want to say one more time that the guys that we just paid and what we saw from them in 2021 that we liked, Goddard got skills, Maddox and blah, 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 blah. Josh Sweat, 7.5 sacks, first time really starting. They're just getting to their prime. And what I even love more is not only did he sign the guys who are just getting into their prime and already proved enough, but let's look at the guys we signed in free agency. Kyzir White is just getting to his prime. Right. Hassan Reddick is just getting to his prime. And A.J. Bleepin Brown is just getting to his prime. When you look at Hopkins, when you look at Stephon Diggs, when you look at Tyreek Hill, when you look at these wide receivers, their best years are 25 to 29. In between the ages of 25 to 29 is most wide receivers' best years. That's what we're going to have A.J. Brown under contract for. So we're just getting them in their prime.
You know what I mean? And then if he's productive from 25 to 29, he leaves the door open to make more money in his late 30s if he wanted. So, you know what I mean? It's very, very smart, and it's a genius how Howie Roseman does these things. So we just got to see how this pans out, man. Like, who do you – I think Kyzir White is going to get paid. You know what I mean? Kyzir White really might get paid because think about it, man. He's on a prove-it deal. You know, he's worth well more than that, man. You know what I mean? He's already out here like predicting interceptions, man. He's everywhere, man. I mean, it's like, I think Kyzir White is going to be the next, big signing for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Man, I agree.
We're extending.
Look, I said this yesterday on Twitter, and that tweet kind of blew up a little bit. And I was like, yo, if I'm Howie Roseman, I'm extending Kyzir White now. And I said, I'm just kidding for the people who get overly emotional on Twitter. Like, you can't extend somebody from practice, blah, 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 blah. Look, though, all I'm saying is I'm predicting is the fact that this man is, like you said, predicting interceptions. This man is just in this small sample size of him playing football for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's been nothing but impact plays, and practice is practice. But again, we just saw a preseason game with no starters because they treat practice more important than the preseason games. And so I'm not extending him right now, but if Howie Roseman not if, he is smart. Howie Roseman's, you're going to hear, remember this, week 4, week 7, week 10, before double digits, or before the season's over, you're going to hear, ESPN, Eagles and Kyzir White agreed to a 3-year, blah, 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 $27 million contract, something along them lines, because Howie Roseman he's not gonna let him hit the market. He's not.
I would extend them now if I could. Actually, I actually would. I'm gonna tell you why. Because he ain't no rookie. He got a body of work. He led the charges and tackles. Like, what you're getting for real. You know what I mean? Like, it's film on him it's film of him just completely shutting down Dalvin Cook in the passing game, everything, just running, tackling him while he's running. It's film of him being everywhere Dalvin Cook is. In one game they played against the Vikings. So if like the Chargers wanted to extend him, they ain't had the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kyzir White is good. Like if you got the money to do it now, I would do it right now if I was Howie Roseman. Yeah, fuck that. Man. I'll do it right now, bro.
he said 2 picks. He said practice. We talk about a practice. Sign that man long time.
Because he do that in the real game.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, when Hassan Reddick really just told me that, he literally predicted it, knowing that he was only going to get 1 series. This man said, I'm going to be out there for 10 plays. I'm going to get a pick in 10 plays. Yeah, that's wild. That's gangster.
That is crazy. That is gangster, yo. He completely baited him into the throw.
Beautiful. Zach Mom was thinking. I said Zach Mom. Zach Wilson was thinking about hot moms. That's what I wanted to say. Sydney family with the $2 super chat, $3 super chat. Appreciate the love. He said Carson Strong developing but composed. I don't know if you were here earlier. We talked about that. The mystery of having a quarterback on a roster that you're not willing to play in preseason, really, and you only put him out there when the game is kind of over, and strange to say the least. But again, let me ask you this real quick. We haven't talked about Jalen Hurts in this stream much because we were mainly staying on the game and whatnot. But now I want to go back to the practices. And one of the most critical guys in Eagles media is one Elliott Shore-Parks. All that being said, he's given Jalen Hurts in 2 joint practices with the Cleveland Browns an A and an A-. One practice was, just regular, like they were starting all throughout the field, 20, 30, blah, 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 blah. The second practice was mainly in the red zone. 2 A's from Elliott Shore-Parks. Just are you like, what has Jalen Hurts shown you just over this whole training camp before, like after you heard about he's been working on this, that, and the third, just in the joint practices to even the Eagles practices, what have you took from just, wow, I thought he was getting better, but did he exceed your expectations is what I'm saying?
No, he right on time for me. He not doing nothing too crazy. He's getting better throwing the ball. The timing is there. The mechanics is way better. You know what I mean? He's reading better. You're seeing that helmet move now. Like he's scanning the field. You know what I mean? He's running when he only feels like he has to run. He's using the backs. Like he's using a big size of the field now. You know what I mean? And he's doing things that still enhance his game and make him a threat as a runner. So I think he's just progressing. You know what I mean? It's just right on time. It reminds me of like when Dak Prescott first came in. Dak Prescott was that game manager. People didn't think he could throw the ball that well. Dak Prescott started developing his arm, and Dak Prescott started putting up numbers. Like, people really, really think that this dude can't throw a ball. Is just ridiculous to me. He has some things he had to work on, but what I'm seeing is a guy that has complete control of the offense. He got respect of the team. You know what I mean? He's like, we know about the hard work and all of that, but let's keep it to the physical development that he's put forth. The guy he's developing, simply put. You know what I mean? Anytime you can get Elliott Shore-Parks to come out his mouth and say something like, what did he say? He said, I'm starting to see why people have hype in this team, and I'm going to ride the hype now. Like this offense has made me believe that the expectations can be met. He said something on the lines like that. And you've seen various tweets in the last couple of practices of them saying he's made, quote unquote, special throws. Like, these ain't ordinary pitch and catch throws. They talk about being difficult, a degree of difficulty of throws that are being made by Jalen Hurts. That lets me believe that he's not scared. He's not afraid to throw these throws. Now he feels like the game is slowing down for him in such a way that his anticipation is getting better. He's understanding what he's seeing now. So, I'm really, really excited about the development. I think it's going to translate over beautifully into the regular season.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. To me, and I've preached this on my channel as well. Like, if Jalen Hurts comes out week 1 and he has an interception in the first quarter, don't panic. If he comes out in the first quarter and he runs from a clean pocket and they show it on the replay, don't panic. He's going to still make young player mistakes. He's going to still do things that he has done last year that we didn't like. He's going to do it at a lesser rate, and he's going to be more efficient, and he's going to have that word consistency. And that's what I think his game needs. It's just to be consistent, because last year we saw dots that he threw, but then we saw other ones that weren't. So it just got to be more consistent. And I think that's what he's been showing. He's been showing that all the work he's done in the offseason, you still don't just grow a different game in one season. Like, it's still going to somewhat be the same. But again, I just think that his game last year was great. It just had to be at a better consistent level. And that's what I think he's establishing, more consistency in what he can do and will do at the quarterback position. And it's from the pocket. It's with anticipation. It's with having more autonomy and being able to dissect and understand what the defense is giving him, so he knows where he's going. A different comfortability level, which he's been preaching. He hasn't had the same blah 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 since he was with his dad in high school. So all that come back around and say that this is why we're seeing this type of progression for him. And you got guys like Elliott Shore Park. Some people call him a hater. Some people call him just a tough critic. But when you, as an Eagle fan, if you got somebody who really doesn't want to believe, starting to believe, that's all you can ever ask for. Is he's taken some of the biggest doubters and starting to show where they're still not 100% sold, but they're like, hey, I'm definitely going to just tune in and see, because of what he's able to do. And it all comes back around to just Jalen Hurts being who Jalen Hurts is. And he's always been some type of a winner.
Yeah, I think a big part of that we're not talking about, though, sometimes is, how bad the coaching was too, and the play calling was. Like, that also still has to get better. They still have to be mindful of, our quarterback is developing, but we can't throw the ball 10 times in a row. Like, we really got to mix it up. This is a boxing match. Even if our throws are little jabs to keep the defense honest, like, we still got to throw our jab. It's a fight you in. You know what I mean? You just can't throw the haymaker at all times and just be throwing the ball. That really confused me, man, because the head coach in the National Football League, I feel like, should know better to abandon the run the way that Nick Sirianni did. But then he still had the sense enough to change the game plan to salvage the season. So I really can't be mad at him for real. But I feel like that would have helped Jalen Hurts out tremendously last year if you would have helped your quarterback out, who seemed to be struggling at times, by feeding rock off to one of these guys who averaged 5 yards a carry. And then had Jordan Howard just sitting there. You know what I mean? So I think a big part of it is still coaching as well. Like, the coaches have to still. It don't matter if you got the best team in the world. You still got to put these guys in the best situation to succeed. You know what I mean? Like, we don't got to go for it on 4th down all the time. We sometimes just take the 3. You know what I mean? Sometimes just do the things the right way, and you're going to come on top more.
Yeah, man, I think that's exactly it. And we forget, as much as we want to say, okay, well, Hurts is learning, he's trying to progress. Nick Sirianni ain't a veteran coach. I love what he was able to do in his rookie season by turning the season around, 2-5 to start, finish strong, being able to delegate his responsibility as the play caller, all that other stuff. But he is learning too, and he's going through his, his good spots and his bad spots too. And I think that's all got to be taken into consideration. You got a first-time defensive coordinator, first-time head coach. You got Shane Steichen, who's young when it comes to actually being able to call the plays by himself, and then Jalen Hurts, the signal caller as a young guy. But it's been nothing but steps in the right direction for this whole organization.
I agree, man. So when you take in these type of positive steps, I think it helps out. Just the morale of the building in itself. Like, Fletcher Cox and them guys ain't staying around if you're not doing these type of upgrades, making this roster just better. Kelsey ain't coming back for another year. Lane Johnson probably requested trade. Like people got to understand something about us. We ain't like who's trash. We ain't the Lions. You know what I mean? We ain't got. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of somebody respectfully. Like, we ain't the Falcons. We're not running around here with bad rosters and trying to hold good veterans against their will just so we can sell some jerseys here. We're actively trying to win the Super Bowl. And the way this roster has been constructed should let you know what time it is. So when you make that commitment to your players, like how we do, you know what I mean? We make so many commitments to our veterans, and we're blessed to still have our trenches intact. Like we make good on contracts. If you got to take a little bit of less money this year, we make sure we pay you heavy on the back end. You know what I'm saying? We put talent around you. You know what I mean? You're not going to be playing with some who. It's a lot of Pro Bowlers on this roster. It's a lot of people who had some good years on this team on this roster. So this is a tight-knit group of guys who want to come together to win a championship. This ain't a bunch of guys out for themselves. So, you know, the front office was detrimental in the turnaround for this roster. And, you know, I'm forever grateful as a fan, you know, that they're still giving me something actively to be happy about. You know what I mean? It could be worse. We could be a Commander who out here thinking Carson Wentz going to change it. You know what I mean? We could be a Giant running around here with Daniel Bones. You know what I'm saying? We could be Dallas, Mike. The Dallas Cowboys. Listen. The Cowboys fans, I don't give a damn. The Cowboys fans, Mike, well, just 1 second. They are happy about a punt returner returning punts against a second string unit, a fifth string unit, returning punts against guys who ain't gonna make the team. We could be in that position, but we not. You know what I mean? We putting the best roster together. We try and win it. I'd much rather have that.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I'm 31 years old, and the Eagles have never stayed down long at all. Yes, we had a couple seasons where we won 4 games, but we turned it around. Like, I've seen Washington, I've seen the Giants be buns for half a decade, like legit buns. You know, kudos to the Giants. They got the 2007, 2010 Super Bowl, but like half decades we're out being 500. Like wild stuff. And Dallas just being just the ultimate front runner and not getting it done. And I've been loving all the Diggs stuff, and I'm gonna keep coming for him. The simple fact that when he first got cooked by Semi Fuoco, whatever his name is, right? Whatever his name was, when that man deactivated Twitter, which for each your own, right? It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But I said from that day forward, I'm telling you, every move he makes after that, he's going to be thinking like, bro, I'm not trying to be on ESPN. I'm not trying to be on the Twitter threads. I'm not trying to do all this stuff. And I think he's going to second guess. Look, was he a playmaker last year? Did he have double-digit interceptions? Was he deserving of the All-Pro? Yes. But for as much as the good comes the bad. And now when that good ain't happening, when them interception ain't happening, I'm ready for all of it because I'm coming for all the and Cowboy fans just I'm gonna be all
Yo,
over.
I didn't think about the psychological part of that though, bro. Yep. Like he really might be psychologically soft. He really might be Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims ain't even deactivate Twitter. You know what I mean?
Here's my thing, like, and people say, "Well, you can't say that." What you know? But you know, the mental health is real in this.
Yeah. I don't mean it in that way. Yeah.
No. But here's why I mean it. At the end of the day, perception is everything, and you know, other players are gonna feed off of what you give them, right? If you don't want to see it, turn notifications off. Mm-hmm. That means
you can't let it bother you. You cannot let it bother you. What I'm
saying is, so as fans who go on your page will still be there, but you can turn notifications off. That means anybody who tweets at you or about you, you will never see it. But at least the perception is it doesn't bother you. But you got cooked up in camp and you're crying about it. So now all I'm saying is, and again, mental health is real, but when he's lined up against any wide receiver, he's going to be like, yo, I'm not trying to be on the top 10 again. Like, I just think that a guy who made his mark off of being risky, I don't know if he's going to be that risky anymore.
My thing is this, though. He's a gambler. And sometimes
you win.
Sometimes you lose. And this is what I'm betting on. So we all know that he can't play. What is it, in phase? When you write on the inside hip, we know he can't play in phase. We know he can't do what Slade do. That's the skill. That's the money in being a cornerback when you can lock somebody down like that. Now listen, Diggs is phenomenal, but Diggs gamble. His game is predicated off gambling. And listen, I'm not saying he can't do it again. I'm betting you, Cowboys Nation, that the gambler will lose one time. That's all I'm saying, because it's a proven fact.
Yep. This man was rolling high in
Right, he was hot.
2021. He was hitting everything, right? But then he goes back. Listen, you ain't gonna be rolling sevens all day, every day in the crap table. So, like, all I'm saying is, yeah, I gotta see it again. I'm not taking it away, but look, I'm ready for it because of all the stuff I've heard about this Trayvon Diggs. You know, I'm gonna keep poking the bear, and I think I'm at the end of the day, I think we're gonna win, especially now that we got both James Bradbury and Darius Slay. So, you know, I think one thing about Slay was, since he's been with the Eagles, it's easier to throw away from Slay because the opposite side has never been that great. And I'm not saying Bradbury's better than Slay or all that, but I think Bradbury is going to make quarterbacks not always look opposite of Slay. So I think Slay's going to have more opportunity, and he didn't get the name Big Play for no reason. He had 3 touchdowns. Yes, 2 of them were on fumble recoveries, but he has a knack at being around the ball. 3 touchdowns. He had more touchdowns than Jalen Reagor.
I like it. You know, I like it from this aspect, Bradbury and Slay, because what Slay has been proven to do is take you away. If you're a read in that route tree, you're not going to throw the ball your way because Slay guarding you. So that route is out of it. So if your second read is all the way on the other side of the field and it's Bradbury, and Bradbury takes that read away, now you got to get to your third read. And by that time, our defense should be there. You know what I mean? We should be harassing you, moving you off your position. So, you know, I'm excited to see what this tandem could be. But I've been hearing Amari Cooper has been having a great camp. You know what I mean? I've heard he's made some plays against the Philadelphia Eagles as well. So that's just further.
He got Slay once.
Yeah, he got Slay. But that's further to the detriment of our NFC East neighbors because they don't have that anymore. So did we really need Bradbury to beat them? I don't think so. I think we're gonna shut down their run, and that's gonna be it for them.
Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of Cowboy content creators talking about people don't realize, but we're going to run the ball a lot more this year. No, you're not. And it doesn't matter. The right. The funny thing is though, you know, that play that Slay got beat. There's a difference level of to just understanding the game of football. One, he was inside the 10 or he was in the red zone, and he was supposed to have safety help, and that's why he bit on it. See, he's not. If that possession is at the 20-yard line on Browns territory, he's not biting on that, knowing that there's still 80 yards of grass behind him. He did it because he knew that it was a short field and there was supposed to be a safety here, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
my thing about Slay not deleting it from that though. Slay gonna say, all right, he beat me. On to the next.
You want to know why Slay not deleting that? Because Slay has been to the Pro Bowl multiple years. This is Slay 4 times out of the last 5 years going to the Pro Bowl, and we're not even counting the year that he won. That he had the interception title. What was that, 2016? Everything that a lot of these cornerbacks have done or just now doing, Slay already did that. All pro votes, all pro players. Slay had the most touchdowns for his position last year. You know what I mean? Like Slay really been Slay is currently doing what they're trying to get. You know, new extensions, you know, new teams wanting to pay you. A lot of these guys are going to be on Slay level, man, at 32 or whatever Slay age is. They not.
Yeah, I'm talking about extending Slay for maybe 1 or 2 more years for sure.
You got to. He's still in top shape.
Exactly. Just coming off a Pro Bowl. Daniel G with the $5 super chat is some negativity. But at the end of the day, JG has not shown us nothing to not be a little worried. But he said JG defense is the Chargers defense, is predicated on getting cooked. That will be our Achilles heel. We can't win with him. Look, I
hope the IQ of our players, you know, kind of calm that down. I hope so.
I agree. And I also think because of the players we have, you know, even a somewhat vanilla defense that is ran, when you are mano a mano, a little bit better than the people in front of you, you can do things differently. So we definitely going to check it all out. But listen, we've been here for an hour and 13 minutes. Shout out to everybody in the Chizat. I've been on camera for like 5 hours now because I did the live stream. Hey, what you got going on for this week?
Nothing, man. We're gonna do what we normally do. We're gonna talk practice. We're gonna break down some film of these great players we got. Same old. Probably do it. Throw a little Eagles roundtable or something. That might be fun.
Yeah, man. We got to get something like that going for sure. Miami Dolphins, 2 days practice, 1 day preseason game. Hey, that's a little bit of a rivalry. That's Tua and Hurts. That's a quarterback in Tua who just got weapons. and a guy in Hurts who just got weapons.
We're going to expose Tua in practice. We're going to expose Tua in practice. I can feel it.
I know you're going to be all over Twitter all week with the whole
Hell
Tua Hurts
yeah,
stuff.
hell yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. For sure. With all that being said, listen, hit the like button wherever you're watching it. We still got 602 people watching. You're like, that's cap. No, it's not. We're live on 2 different channels. Philly Talk Podcast chat, Laura Brunson's chat. Listen, we both drop content all week. Go ahead and check the other content out. If you don't really mess with it, just see what it is about. Hit the like button. No, it's free. It's easy. And we got the best fan base in the game. So we gotta prove it by smashing that like button. It's free.
And make sure y'all tap in the Philly Sports Trips week 3. Make sure y'all tap in. Me and Philly Mike gonna be there. FedEx Field. Who knows? We probably do a show out there. Who knows? We probably just be vibing, watching the game. That's probably 9 times out of 10. But vibe with us. It's gonna go down, man. Tap in. PhillySportsTrips.com.
Yes, definitely do that. And for my ABE people who live in Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, which is like, the city, like about an hour away from Philly, they're going to have their own bus. We're trying to fill it up, 40, 50 people. I got about 15 people already going for that. But if you live in the ABE, which is, Allentown, Easton, Bethlehem, you all know what it is. Hit me up and we're going to get you to sign up on a different website for that bus. And also, I got an Eagles chat going, chalkboard.
Facts.
It's free. Just check it out. Sorry for the Android users. They are working as hard as possible to get it for Android. It will be there before week 1. However, if you got an iPhone, we talk 24/7 in the Eagles chat. Great Eagles community. We got about 120 people in here now. Last time I checked. Again, I'll be in here 24/7 and everybody just keep it 100. And we just talk Eagles good stuff and Cowboys bad stuff. With that being said, the link is on the pinned comment, and when this video is over, it will be in the description. That being said, we about to get up out of here.
Yes, sir. See y'all this week.
Let's go. Eagles, Dolphins, Hurts, Tua. Find out in the next episode of Go Talk. We out.